This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by the National Rifle Association on the Patriot Mobile Platinum microphone.
They're never going to stop us here.
Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense begins right now. I am Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom here in front of a Patriot Mobile Communication and Command Center microphone. It's all being brought to you by the amazing National Rifle Association. I have to throw this out. Talked with the National Rifle Association today. Guys, if you want those range bags, they're moving quick. So you have to move quick on these things. There's a possibility we can get some more, but I don't know for certain. But they are flying off the shelves. If you have not yet joined or rejoined the National Rifle Association, you want to take advantage of that range bag, and I'll show it to you on the breaks if you're watching us on your devices. You get a range bag from the National Rifle Association for a 1-year or 3-year membership. That's $35 or $85. 5-year membership, life membership. You get the binoculars, the 10x42, and they're super high quality. You get the case with it, get the protective covers, the whole 9 yards, guys. It's the real deal. Join the NRA. Many of you are or rejoin, please, and support us. When you hear what we're going to talk about today, it will become clear why you need to be a member of not only the National Rifle Association, but other groups as well. But the NRA, take advantage of that free stuff. We love giving away free stuff. When those are gone and we can't get any more, one of you is going to win another range bag, win a range bag, not just the giveaway that you get. All of you get it until the 750 are gone. But one of you is going to win a range bag filled with all kinds of Armed American Radio and our sponsorship swag. So take advantage of that. There's only one way to do it, and that's join or rejoin the NRA. It's real simple. Welcome in. We're on Facebook Live, facebook.com/Armed American Radio. Greg in Dallas, how you doing, brother?
Not too bad. Here we are again.
You can tell everybody where to go, and then we'll get started with Andy Hooser. We're gonna break bad on Kentucky Democrats because they've earned it and deserve it, and we'll have some fun checkmating these idiots.
Yep, sure. Other places to watch the show are going to be Rumble and YouTube. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. On X, we're at AAR Mark. You can head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com, hit that menu icon, and then select that watch live or listen live option. And if you'd like to join our live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Andy Hooser, the voice of reason, KQAM, Wichita's big talker, Wichita's favorite son, and Talker's Heavy 100. How you doing, brother?
What's up, brother? Happy Monday. Ready to rock and roll for a whole new one. Setting that tone for the whole week like we do every single week.
What's the
He
weather?
does this to irritate me.
I know he does. Yeah, I talked with him a couple days ago, and he said it was 70 degrees and rainy, and he was loving every second of it. So let's start our Fun Day Monday off. What's the weather in Wichita?
It's too hot. This week we're supposed to hit triple digits. Right now it's about 91, 92 degrees, and it is painfully ridiculous. And yeah, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I am, this is the time where I am waiting and very frustrated. Donald Trump may have had so far the most successful 6 months of any Trump administration or any presidential administration, but he has not purchased Greenland yet. So therefore it's a complete failure because I can't move there yet.
Yeah, you're correct.
He's serious. He would move to Greenland too.
I have already submitted my application to be the ambassador to Greenland, and when we end up buying it. So.
All right, well, I'm doing this live in real time right now because you said Trump is having the best 6 months of any president ever. You wouldn't know that if you went to the Drudge Report, so let's go to the Drudge Report real quick.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to do this live. Here we go. Pop Drudge up, and there it is. All right, top left stories. Pressure mounts for Ghislaine to testify before Congress. She's documenting everything. She is not suicidal. Casino boss claims Trump and best friend Epstein caught bringing underage to casino floor. Unearthed video judging teen models goes viral. Accuser's story suggests how the Don might appear in files. Gay black judge to hear Trump's Murdoch lawsuit developing. White House removes Wall Street Journal from press pool over bombshell. Migrants forced to eat like dogs. Caged like chickens. Camera over toilet. FEMA camps raise alarm. Trump job rating, 38% approve. Bannon said he plans to release his doc about Epstein early next year. 15 hours of unseen footage. Hunter Biden says dad was on Ambien during disastrous debate. Let's loose on Clooney and Dems. F him. 3-hour YouTube. Trump officials accused of defying 1 and 3 judges who ruled against him. The Don posts deranged AI video of Obama being arrested. On and on and on. So I don't believe you, Andy, because it's right here on the internet.
It's right here.
You
the
are whacked out
interweb
of your
says
mind.
otherwise. That's right. The interweb says otherwise, which there is, I mean, we could spend an entire day talking about everything that you just mentioned on all those headlines, which is absolutely insane. But yeah, imagine if you will, just going back to the Epstein, and when I filled in for you on Wednesday, Thursday last week, which by the way, I always appreciate doing. I love doing it.
That, by the way.
We talked about a lot of the Epstein files, and it has a lot to do with the Second Amendment as related it to it, because I mean, when these are the government types, the deep state, the elite that are allowing human trafficking, allowing drug trafficking, allowing gun trafficking, but yet they don't allow you to carry your firearm. There's a major issue here. We talked a lot about the Epstein file on your show last week in the regards of, obviously, number one, if Trump were in this list, it would have been released a long time ago, because they did everything they could to try and keep Donald Trump out of the White House in part 1 and part 2 that we're seeing right now. The second part is, how sick is it, Mark, that we have now shifted the conversation about Epstein from underage girls being on an island, being taken advantage of in a human trafficking ring. We have changed that conversation, which is what the entire purpose of the Epstein issue is, to now Donald Trump wrote a letter to Epstein and drew a picture of a naked girl on it, and therefore Donald Trump's associated with Jeffrey Epstein because they're BFFs and they're best friends or whatever. That has now become the conversation with the media, as opposed to, wow, there is a crazy ring of human trafficking and underage girls that have been trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell. Maybe we should look into that to make sure it doesn't happen again. How sick is it to change that kind of conversation?
It's Democrat sick. It's Colbert sick. It is evil. But again, all you have to do is look at this left-wing nonsense. And, look, I don't know how. I was having this conversation. I had lunch with my father and my son today, and we were talking a little bit about this. How are they going to survive the next 3.5 years? They're popping like zits now. Can you imagine what is going to happen to Chris Murphy? What's going to happen to Swalwell? What's going to happen to AOC? Bernie Sanders? What's going to happen to them over the next 3.5 years of Trump completely dominating them? What's going to happen to the media when lie after lie after lie is exposed? Because now, of course, they're coming after Tulsi Gabbard because their king, Obama, is now in the crosshairs, metaphorically speaking, ladies and gentlemen. Don't misunderstand me. How are they going to survive this? Honestly, the TDS is real. It's incredible, and you're going to see some crazy things happen to the Democrats and some crazy things happen because of the Democrats and from the Democrats over the next 3.5 years, Andy. They're not going to make it.
Oh, of course.
They're not going to make it.
Mark, we're 6 months into the Trump administration. How many quote unquote no King's Days protests have we seen out there? How many violent riots have we already seen in the streets across the country right now because of Donald Trump and the immigration issue? If we're already seeing them unhinged like this, losing their minds 6 months in, you're right. What are they going to look like 3 years from now when we continue on with this agenda? I'm honestly very concerned about what they could potentially do moving forward, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, think about it. Not only has Trump only been in office for 6 months, but the time it took for them to get confirmed with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., with Tulsi Gabbard, with Kash Patel, with Dan Bongino, with all these guys. Let's say they're only 3 to 4 months into their administration after getting confirmed, going through the process, getting settled in, learning the process, and actually figuring out how to run the job. They're exposing, and I'm going to talk about it on my show today too, we have taken, between the Epstein issue and the Russian hoax issue with Tulsi Gabbard, two of the biggest issues about transparency, finally moving forward with releasing documents, understanding what's going on internally within the government. And that's only, let's say, 3 months into them actually being on the job doing this. Imagine what else is going to come out in the next 3 years.
Imagine what's going to happen if the midterms go the wrong way for the Republicans. Imagine what happens if the crazed TDS-suffering Democrats and their lapdogs in the media get a hold of the House, which I don't think is going to happen. But they're already talking about redistricting and everything else. You're talking about California, talking about some New York areas. So they're desperate. And there's an old adage, it's very true. Desperate people do desperate things. They have lost their grip on power. They are very wildly unpopular with the American public. Who knows what they're capable of? But you're going to see desperation act. And ladies and gentlemen, you should be concerned. And Andy, you're right to be concerned about that, because you're seeing it manifest itself Really, and again, I hate to push you. If you're not on X, formerly known as Twitter, I would advise you not to be. You don't need it in your life. You really, truly don't. I think about 25% of Americans are on that garbage. But if you do have it, subscribe. Or not subscribe. That way, I guess he'd have to charge you for that, and he probably does. But just follow Chris Murphy in Connecticut. Just follow him. Watch him every day. Lie after lie after lie after lie after lie all day long as he grows his beard for whatever reason. Because it doesn't work on him. Well, you're going to see some really dangerous stuff coming from the Democrats over the next 3.5 years. They're losing their marbles, but I got to tell you, Andy, it is super fun to watch, and we're going to enjoy watching every single minute of it. When we come back, we're going to take you to Kintuck, because wait till you hear what the stupid Democrats are up to there, and we're not going to be nice to them. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we got a live mic for you. Greg is talking about the gaslighting, and that is it's at record levels. I've never seen it this bad ever.
I can't believe I see people posting as if they are blind to everything that happened before Trump was elected in November, and it's acting as if they arrest Obama, it's the first time a president has been arrested.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know how to express it in a mathematical formula. But if
the gaslighting is cutting so thin.
Well, they have not figured out the equation that the more they try to throw at Trump, the crazier, more whacked out they become, the more powerful he becomes. And they have not yet figured that out. And I don't know at this point that they're capable of figuring it out. And I think that's where the derangement syndrome comes into play. They're not capable of figuring that out. They can't understand why they are in the shitter the way they are. And as a result of that, you're going to see some very dangerous, wild swings from them. And they will get more desperate as the days and weeks go by, and it turns into years. It's literally driving them insane. That's fun to watch, though.
And how they're attacking Tulsi Gabbard is very interesting.
Yeah, you're right. The more... You got a handful of these clowns that the media gives airplay to, right? We talked about it last night. You got Tim Waltz and others talking about how Colbert is out. Colbert was losing his network $40 million a year. That number is out now. They were paying him $20 million a year to lose $40 million a year. And you're talking about a party that created cancel culture, that wouldn't let this show be heard on social media. Social media tech giants were stopping us from being heard, seen, discussing what we want to talk about because it didn't fit their agenda. And I have proof of that. We have the receipts. And we're just a very small cog in that wheel. And this is the party talking about Colbert being outed, or ousted, I should say, because Trump is censoring him. This is the party of censorship. It is mind-boggling to watch. And that's the gaslighting. That's where you scratch your head and go, God, am I really seeing this? Yeah, you are. That's the gaslighting. We're smart enough to know we're being gaslit. Others aren't, guys. It's eating away at what's left of their brains. So fun to conversate about. There you go, Patrick. So fun to conversate about. Patrick's going to put in the... Did he just say conversate?
30.
Go for it, Patrick. That was for you, bro. Counselor. Brakes are flying. Buckle in. Show's going to cruise.
The following segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR and use the AAR promo code to get free activation today. Welcome back to the show.
Guess I should make my mic live. Patriot mobile phone I'm holding up in front of the cameras. If you're not watching the show and you're listening to the show, like most of you probably are, I'm holding up a Patriot mobile phone. It's an iPhone 15, iPhone 15 Pro or something like that. Not the Pro Max, whatever. But it's an iPhone. That's not just an iPhone. It's a Patriot Mobile activated phone. You guys can do the same thing. PatriotMobile.com/AAR. Port your numbers over one at a time. Have fun. Support a business that supports everything we're talking about today and puts their money behind it. PatriotMobile.com/AAR. And you can check out Patriot Mobile and all of our great partners. Where? At ArmedAmericanRadio.com. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. Welcome back in. So the conversation,
Yes, sir.
we started to say, you can't hear us during the break. I guess we could because you're dialing in the way you're dialing in, but we didn't have you potted in. But nonetheless, we were continuing the conversation about how they're just, whatever this Greg mentioned, the gaslighting is unlike anything he's ever seen. No doubt, as a media critic for 20 years, no doubt it's at record levels as far as I'm concerned. But it is constant lie after lie after lie. And again, we settle back on, you're going to see some very dangerous things from the Democrats pop up as they lose whatever is left of their rotting brains. And I don't know of any other way to say that other than, ladies and gentlemen, stay on your toes. Pay attention to what's happening because they are literally crazed. I know people personally who have lost their marbles, Andy. Now, as much as I hate to admit this, it is really fun to watch. Particularly when some of the people I'm talking about are highly educated people, but you tend to see that from elitist, that's where it comes from the left. But it's also very scary to see people who I know personally for all of my life that are so intelligent normally that are just literally losing their brains. But it is really fun to watch.
It is fun to watch. I mean, look, the other side is very smug.
We admit it, right?
They know that. Look, the Democrats, progressives, the elites, they're very smug, and they love their smugness. They are the elites that look down on us all the time. And for the first time in a very long time, not only is Donald Trump going in and just shaking up the entire system, but the Republican Party, for the first time in a very long time, almost kind of sort of working together to, do the Doge cuts and codify the rescission bills, to actually reform the federal government, to work on transparency at the federal level. For the first time in a very long time, Republicans are almost kind of sort of unified and making all this happen. So Democrats don't know what to do about that because normally, even when they lose power, they can still hold the power over and the control over Republicans. They can threaten them that they're the fault the government's shutting down because Democrats won't go along with what Republicans want. They usually still hold the control and power over them even when they're not in charge. This is the first time that hasn't been happening, and they don't know how to handle that. And it's fun to watch, but like you said, it's also very dangerous because they're losing control, and they don't like that.
Yeah, and again, crazy, whacked out people do crazy, whacked out things, particularly when they're desperate. There was a piece up on Fox, and I was able to bring it up. Social media-fueled teen flash mobs prompt closures of businesses and public centers nationwide. Police shut down businesses and make arrests as unruly crowds fight, use drugs, and terrorize communities. Now, I nationwide, yeah, I guess it's nationwide because there are blue Democrat-run cities nationwide. This is where these things are happening. In blue cities who, for the most part, since 2020 have, gutted their police departments, et cetera. But social media, for many years, I've often said this, and I stand by this. Social media is doing tremendous damage to the psyche of this country. It's doing tremendous harm. While there's a lot of good there, it's doing tremendous harm to offset and balance that scale. And it's frightening. It's absolutely frightening. Because you've got, flash mobs, Andy, your generation knows more about flash mobs than mine. Although we've all seen them together, all right, as we've grown up. But nonetheless, I think you're a little bit more in tune with some of the social media stuff than some older generations. But when you see this kind of garbage go on in blue cities, to me, it's an indicator of things to come. And that's what concerns me. It is an indicator of things to come because these things breed crime. They're fighting drugs, fighting, terrorizing communities. All of those things are against the law. And the Democrats seem to support this type behavior. But you don't see it happening in predominantly Republican areas. Why is that, Andy? the voice of
Well,
reason
for them
fits me.
again, it's that elitism. I mean, it's the rules for thee and not for me. Look, I mean, they're the ones. I don't know if you've seen the tirade or listened to the tirade of Hunter Biden
Oh,
going off
yes,
about
yes. Loved it.
literally bringing the illegal aliens back from El Salvador because Donald Trump's a thug and so on and so forth, and all the headlines that you just read from the judge report in that last segment, that they truly feel that they are the rules for thee and not for me. I can do all of this stuff. I can be part of the shady business. I can go into the Capitol committee rooms and do films of some explicit content. We can have cocaine in the White House with Hunter Biden. We can do this human trafficking, all this kind of stuff. But, and you talk about it all the time on your show, but even while we're doing all this stuff, you can't have a firearm in the community because we're looking out for you. You can't try to defend yourself because you can't say what you want to and have that freedom of speech because you're spreading hate speech because we don't like it and we disagree with it. So because you're spreading that we don't like it, we're now justified in being violent against you because we have to stop fascism. So therefore we're justified in our violence against you because and I call it, I've said it many times before, I've coined it as the domestic abuser syndrome in this country. Why are you making me hurt you? Why are you making me be violent against you if you would just do what I want you to do? That's the system that we live in right now, and Democrats are the abusers in society. Do what we want you to, or else it's your fault when we come after you.
I don't know that it's a society we live in. It's a society they live in.
Oh yeah, but we're victims of it. We're finally starting as the ones that are abused. We're finally starting to stand up and say you can't do that to us anymore. We're not going to take it. We're finally because for the longest time, Republicans in Congress, they cowered when the media said that it was Republicans' fault for shutting down the government because Republicans didn't do bipartisan with Democrats, even though Democrats were the ones that said vote for whatever we want, we're going to give you nothing, or else it's your fault. For the longest time, Republicans were scared of their own shadow. The media bullied them, the Democrats bullied them, and they would never fight for what they said they actually believed in. So we were the victims of it, and we're finally starting to say, no, we're not going to take that anymore.
Yeah, when you're talking about a party that's showing AOC and Bernie Sanders, and now Beto O'Rourke is back in the limelight.
Mom
he
Donnie
was out there again today. And you see people, Hunter Biden is trending right now on Twitter. I would love to play the tape of him for you, ladies and gentlemen, but I can't because it's classic Hunter Biden. Every other word was an F-bomb, and I can't drop it. And all he talked about was going off on, who's serving your food, who's washing your dishes, who's washing your vegetables. That all these people coming into the. So when he was going off on that, it proved positive to me that what his father did was absolutely 100,000 gobzillion% intentional. And it also proved to me it was likely Hunter Biden that was pulling the strings. How scary is that? That clown
that's pretty insane.
Was pulling the strings and is likely responsible for a lot of those auto pens, particularly with the criminals, because we all know Hunter Biden's a criminal. When we come back, I promise we're going to take you to Kentucky. It's way, way, way too good. Shocked and praying again. Kentucky lawmakers have a long record of doing nothing about gun violence. It's going to be hard just to get through the opening sentences on this, but we're going to have a lot of fun with it because the stupidity on display here, you got to take a shower and you can feel your IQ dropping when you read this nonsense. We'll be back right after this.
You can't have dinner.
freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, welcome back to the show indeed, ladies and gentlemen. The story that we're going to tell you about what's going on in Kentucky is exactly why the National Rifle Association is so important. It's exactly why Kentucky gun owner groups are so important. It is exactly why the Second Amendment Foundation is so important. It's exactly why the midterms are so important, okay? What happens in one state happens everywhere. So we'll talk more about NRA and what you can do and other things you can do to get on board with us to stop this type of nonsense. The first step is to be able to talk about it. Welcome back. The whole show is being brought to you by the NRA, by the way. And you can check out all of our great partners. Don't forget Ammo Squared. Let's see, today's Monday. On Wednesday, I'll get my You've Got Ammo mail. Thousands of rounds building up over there. Just a 401k for my ammo supply. You should be doing that as well. More about those partners coming up. Suffice to say, you can find them all at armedamericanradio.com. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. I want to take you to Kentucky, my brother. You ready to go to Kentucky? I love Kentucky.
Let's do it.
Oh,
yeah.
Bourbon Central, man. Love that. I have friends and relatives up there. AWR was born and raised in Kentucky. Kentucky's a great place. Shocked and praying again. Kentucky lawmakers have a long record of doing nothing about gun violence. Now, let's just take the headline, Andy, because it's easy to do. What do they expect lawmakers in Kentucky to do about quote-unquote gun violence?
Oh, well, that's an easy one. They're really hoping that they start laying down that law banning certain firearms, because if you don't have it, then obviously you're not going to use it in some type of crime. Just look at places like New York City or Chicago. Oh, wait a second. Sorry. But
there's always that, right?
That's what they're hoping for. That's what they're looking for.
So let's start here because you're right. These are people who are completely government dependent. The government needs to save me. The government needs to save me. At approximately noon on Sunday, July 13th, and guys, you remember what we're talking about here when we mentioned it. We talked about it on the show. 47-year-old Guy House shot and wounded a Kentucky State police officer near Bluegrass Airport in Lexington, then carjacked a vehicle and drove several miles to a small church on Old Richmond Road, where he shot 2 women to death and wounded 2 men. It's pretty bad by all accounts, right? Andy Hooser, the voice of reason?
Yeah.
Did you know that House was scheduled to appear at a domestic violence hearing the very next day? Probably not. Did you also know that he had a lengthy criminal record dating back more than 20 years, which included possession of a firearm by a convicted felon? And he had, did you know, repeatedly violated that probation? And let's point out this brilliant leftist, Terry Carter, for making sure we know this, and still, House had a gun. Per the statistics at Everytown for Gun Safety, Kentucky's gun laws are among the worst in the country, and the state has one of the higher rates of gun violence in the nation. Kentucky has none of the foundational policies in place after legislators repealed its concealed carry permitting requirement in 2019. Now, let's break this down, because these idiots who fall for this, and this idiot reporter, and let me make this very clear, ladies and gentlemen, Terry Carter, you're listening in Lexington, Kentucky, all right? You're listening in Louisville and a couple other places in Kentucky. Pay very careful attention to this. Terry Carter's an idiot. Let me make this very clear. Andy, she's either dumb as a box of rocks or she is lying through her teeth. There is no gray area. Why? How can we make that assumption? Well, it's simple. Because the guy is already 100% gun controlled by being a felon in possession of a handgun, period.
Bingo.
Now, you tell me, that's checkmate right there. We can move on to something else, but we're not going to, because we're going to talk about these idiots because it's too easy to do. What do you think Terry Carter, this very brilliant reporter, to use something Trump would say, would expect the government to do when he's already in violation of all of Kentucky's gun laws? What does she want? Do we make it more illegal? We created the word here, illegaler. Do we make it illegaler here in Kentucky? What do we do? And what does Terry Carter, imbecile, expect the government to do? Andy, help me, please. You have the moniker voice of reason. I need your assistance.
Yeah, I mean, you already said it. Look, I mean, he already should not have a firearm, which means that he already broke the law. He became more illegaler to get a firearm that he wasn't supposed to have in the first place while he was getting ready for a court date about being a domestic abuser, committing crimes or whatever the hell that he was doing there. So the only to them the the only to them the only way, the only solution to this that the government can do, because remember, the government's here to help, and therefore we're going to, make sure you're safe and so on and so forth by getting rid of your firearms. No one can have a firearm. The only way to them that would stop this would say, if nobody had any guns in the first place, then there wouldn't have been an opportunity to get the firearm. So because he already broke the law by getting a gun illegally, just means that the gun was accessible to him even in an illegal manner. And if we get rid of all of the guns, then all of a sudden he has no access to it, so he couldn't have done what he was planning on doing. So that's the only way, because if he broke the law already, you can't make a new law to reinforce the old law that doesn't really change anything. You just have to get rid of the opportunity altogether. That's the only way, which goes to the idea that they never openly admit complete gun confiscation and complete gun fire bans. That's all they want. The complete ban on firearms. That's the only logical way that they can take another step.
Now, she's likely saying that without saying that, okay? But let's dig even deeper, because you're spot on your assessment. He's already 100% gun controlled. But let's go to that statement from Everytown for Gun Safety. Now, Terry Carter, I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is too stupid to lie about this. She's not smart enough to put together the lies. Terry Carter's just stupid. And you glean that from what she's writing here. It's not rocket science. Kentucky's gun laws are among the worst in the country, and the state has one of the highest rates of gun violence in the nation. Kentucky has none of the foundational policies in place after legislators repealed its concealed carry permitting requirement in 2019. So, criminal Guy House, 47 years old. I'm going to jump on that age for a minute. We're going to go there in just a second, because she goes into something else here, another bullet point that's so brilliant for her. This guy's 47 years old. He's already 100% banned. He's a felon in possession of a gun. He's violated his parole multiple times. Making it illegal or isn't going to work, because he's just going to violate those laws, because he is a criminal by nature, period. What does concealed carry permitting requirement repeal have to do with 47-year-old criminal Guy House having an illegal handgun in possession of it because he's an illegal prohibited possessor? What does concealed carry law, any concealed carry law whatsoever, have to do with Guy House?
That would be nothing.
Big fat nada, folks. It has nothing. So here's what she says. This is the follow-up. So fun, so fun. So let's talk about the most recent conversation at our state legislature regarding concealed carry. In a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing on March 6th, Senator Aaron Reed presented Senate Bill 75 to lower the age to carry a concealed firearm from 21 to 18. Guy House is 47 years old. Not 18, 19, or 20. What does that have to do with Guy House?
Mark, you know what? Maybe he identifies as an 18, 19-year-old.
Ooh, there's that, but I haven't read that yet.
If he identifies as such, therefore the law would apply, right? Because you can identify as anything you want to under the wokeness of the progressives. So if he identifies as an 18-year-old, therefore that law would apply, and therefore, because we have to take him at his word there, we would have to look at those laws specifically for not who he is, but who he identifies as.
All right, we're going to go farther. Greg, how much time do I? Oh, it's too much fun, because we're going to hear from a police officer, former police officer. And guys, this is where the National Rifle Association comes into play. So I'm going to throw the shameless plug out, because for the very reason this idiot Terry Carter wrote it, testifying in the seat next to Reed, Senator Aaron Reed, who presented the bill to lower the age from 21 to 18, which means legal adults can carry guns. Testifying in the seat next to Reed was a representative from the National Rifle Association. This is why you support the National Rifle Association, for this very reason. Because they're in there testifying. You don't hear about it every day, but it's a fact. That's where the NRA ILA comes in and the NRA state reps come in. And when we come back, it gets even better. Wait till you hear what this former cop, Senator Danny Carroll, had to say. Another brilliant one from Kentucky. We'll be right back. This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back. Yeah, welcome back to the show indeed. Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom today and every day. And I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, when you read stuff like this, it's enough to drive you crazy, but it's also kind of fun because it's just pure content handed to you when you're a talk radio host. It's fun to get stuff like this and go, man, there's the show for an hour. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. Welcome back in, brother.
Yeah, buddy.
See, when I hear that Attorneys on Retainer and NRA and all that stuff, and I see this garbage nonsense from the Democrats, I think to myself, we're blessed to have the partners that we have. And here's why. And Andy, I think you'll agree with me on this. But imagine a prosecutor who thinks like this Terry Carter, who isn't thinking, but is rather feeling. Imagine if Terry Carter were not a writer at all for, who is this? Kentucky Lantern. Imagine if she were a prosecutor and you had to use your gun in self-defense. Imagine what she would do to you if given the opportunity. You're chuckling because you know what would she do? You know the answer, I'm going to assume, because you're chuckling. Go for it. What would she do?
They would do everything to try and make an example out of you because
you better believe they would.
It's insane.
And ladies and gentlemen, that right there is the shameless plug. Again, this is why you need an attorney. It's why you need to be a member of all of these gun groups that you can afford to do. And I know it's tight, right? I know it. Believe me, I'm with you on that. But these are the things where, my gosh, if you value your rights and your freedoms, you got to dig into the couch, man, and find some change, okay? Because these things matter. These organizations matter. Attorneys on Retainer. .us/AAR. Have an attorney on your side. You run into somebody like this that happens to be a prosecutor, and there are thousands of them across the country, you're screwed. And you better have an attorney in your hip pocket for $35 a month. It's a no-brainer. There's your plug. Attorneysonretainer.us got you covered from people like this because they're out there. And if you live in a jurisdiction behind a blue wall in particular, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't have that protection, foolish in my book. Foolish in my book. And if you're not helping the NRA and the Second Amendment Foundation and everybody else out there who are all working together to stop people like this, again, pretty foolish. And you're not doing us any favors by sitting on the sidelines. If you just like talking about it and you're not acting on it, you are really sitting on the sidelines. You got to get off the bench, ladies and gentlemen. We need your help. NRA.org/AAR. Go and help us. Let's go now, because look who they trot out, Andy, as their expert in the Senate. Is a former police officer by the name of Senator Danny Carroll, a police officer for more than 2 decades. He spoke against the bill, the 18 to 21-year-old. Here's what he had to say. I personally do not see anything to gain by passing this bill, and that's from 24 years as a law enforcement officer. Now, he might not have wanted to lean on that because he didn't do himself any favors. You're always taught to assume that everyone is carrying a concealed weapon, mainly with the segment of society that law enforcement often deals with. Oh, he should have never made that statement. And I think this is just going to kick this up to another level where they are going to be carrying concealed. What? Now, first of all, that's a Joe Biden-esque statement where you would say, I don't even think he knows what he said. All right? But this is not an expert I want to rely on by any stretch. Think about what he just said. You're always taught to assume that everyone is carrying a concealed weapon. If you're a cop, that's probably a good thing to think, Andy. Whoever I'm coming in contact with might have the ability and desire to want to kill me. That's a safe way to think if you're a cop. No problem with that whatsoever. Especially dealing with the segment of society that law enforcement often deals with. Who is he referring to there? Could it be criminals, Andy?
I mean, that would, to me, be the only category or demographic of people that law enforcement would normally deal with. I would think so. So, yeah, criminals. Yeah.
So here's where I'm going. If you're 18 to 21, this guy is lumping you with criminals, period. Because there is no change to who can or can't. If you are a prohibited possessor, by whatever the laws are, you are a prohibited possessor. End of discussion. Simply because you're 18, 19, or 20 years old, the vast majority of 18, 19, and 20-year-olds are not prohibited possessors. Now, this guy, again, the rationale here is mind-boggling to me. It really, truly is. You have to wonder if this man is thinking when he says this. Because you look back and you think, okay, I'm an 18-year-old. I want to be a criminal. But God darn it, I'm not allowed to carry a gun until I'm 21.
Darn it. Gosh. Come on. Come on, Mark.
That's exactly what he is saying to you without saying it. I want to start robbing liquor stores for a career, but I got to wait until I'm 21 to do it. Oh, wait a minute. Lots of 15, 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old prohibited possessors. Let's not even put 18 in there. 15, 16, 13 in some blue cities. Gangbangers of every age are robbing liquor stores, gas stations, convenience stores. All of them with a handgun. All of them are prohibited possessors.
Mark, if I can only take a gun to school and shoot up the place, I wish I could do that. But there's this sign out there that says like you can't bring any firearms into this area. I just really don't know. Gotta wait until I leave there and I can't carry any longer. It's telling me I'm not allowed to. I would love to go and just do this horrible act, but the law. I mean, the sticker says that I can't do it, Mark.
Yet they do it, don't they? I mean, maybe there should be, maybe Terry Carter and this former police officer believe, maybe they should pass a law that says you cannot join a street gang until you are 21. You can't join a street gang until you're 21.
That's right.
You can't. If you're joining a street gang, no, that's against the law to join a street gang. The logic or the lack of logic here, I don't even know how to describe the stupidity here. It's the only word I can come up with these people, is utter sheer stupidity. I don't even think he realized what he said when he said it. If you're assuming everyone's carrying a concealed weapon because of the element of society that you are dealing with, which is criminals, ladies and gentlemen, that's who he's referring to, that by making 18 to 20-year-olds legal adults who can enter contracts, buy things, break things, get in trouble, get married, move out, start businesses, go bankrupt, everything that an adult can do, except carry a firearm lawfully to defend themselves when they get married at 18, move out, rent an apartment with a spouse, have kids, start a business, borrow money. And we talk about this ad nauseum, but when you hear it coming from a guy like this, it really puts in perspective the stupidity of the people behind the words, Andy. I don't know of any other way to say it.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's where they're at. They try to talk in pretzels. They try to twist everything they can just to try and promote their agenda when it doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you already have laws that ban people from doing things, but yet they break those laws, I don't know how more laws would actually stop them. Now, enforcing laws, which Democrats have not been very good at either with enforcing laws, that could be one aspect where you could at least have a coherent conversation as a Democrat and say, hey, we have these laws on the books. There's bad guys doing bad things. We need to crack down and actually enforce the laws and have more severe punishments or whatever else to make sure that they're not repeat offenders. I mean, if that's a conversation they want to do, then, we can have that conversation. But to say, hey, people are still using guns to commit crimes because guns are banned right now, so let's do another ban and more regulations on guns because guns are the problem here, then you've already lost the conversation because of how stupid it actually is.
Yeah, she lamented the fact that some of the anti-gun bills didn't even get a hearing. And those were prohibit firearm possession by convicted domestic abusers. That's already called the Lautenberg Amendment. There's federal for that. Require a 5-day waiting period. But here we go again, right? Criminals are sitting around their criminal lair all day. Hey, man, well, I'm going to rob that liquor store Friday. But I was going to go over to Steve's Gun and Pawn and buy a gun and get a background check. But I can't do that in time. So, I guess I'm just going to have to rob the liquor store on Tuesday. You'd have to assume this person is stupid enough to believe that that's what a criminal is actually talking about. Andy, these people are mind-boggling. But I thank them for giving us the content every day, right? Andy, you got 10 seconds. Where can people hear you? Coming up next.
20.
Yeah, you betcha. HooserReason.com. Always a pleasure, Mark. Happy Monday. We always love it.
You talker, heavy 100 hitter, you. God bless you, Andy Hooser. We love you.
10.
HooserReason.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get up and do it again tomorrow because they don't want us to. Enjoy what's left of your day. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow.
You just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters. Presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
Oh, guys, fun stuff handed to you and presented to you every day by a stupid Democrat. You got to love them. God bless them. I'm kind of glad they're there. We wouldn't have a job if they weren't there. So anyway, guys, it's fun to bring it to your attention. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to rag on them, particularly on a Monday. Great day for a rag session. So I hope you enjoyed the program today. Please, please, please support all of our partners, ladies and gentlemen. The firearms industry is really tough to deal with, and we need your help, okay? They are, believe it or not, and we're going to talk about that in an upcoming broadcast. But nonetheless, please support our partners, all of our great partners. If you're somebody that wants to support the program, reach out to me at mark@armedamericanradio.org, and I can help you do that. And I think we've got a couple of new partners coming up here soon. I'll keep you advised. In the meantime, enjoy your day, stay safe, carry on, carry often, carry absolutely everywhere. Never, ever, ever leave your cave without your club. No self-respecting caveman would have ever been caught outside his cave without his club. Enjoy what's left of your day. Love you. I'll see you on the radio tomorrow. Thanks, guys.